So there's a nice shot of that second playground.
Okay. Yeah. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is, you see in the foreground is the garden. So that's part of the garden. We also had some beds around the side. So that right there is the garden. Parents built that one, in one weekend while we were doing it. You see where that line of stumps is there. The far side of that is the part of the full body sand pit. And it goes all the way up the hill. And then you'll see right there in the front, the main thing you see, that thing with the droopy swimming pool noodles on, that windmill.
Yeah.
To me is something I always feel like has to be in this, like there needs to be a piece of art, just a big piece of art, I think, in every good playground. And if you look carefully, you can see there's a big wing coming out of one side, and then there's the head of a dragon coming out the other side. You just barely see it. It's like pipes. It's a framework, because this used to be part of a fire circus. And this was a circus called Cirque de Flambe. And they basically Big Burning Man and all that.
Seattle.
Yeah, and they were a performance troupe that did just set things on fire. And this was part of a Man of La Mancha, right? A Don Quixote bit they did. And this is the windmill, and you can see it has scorch marks on it. They used to set it on fire. And this dragon would come out of the back, representing his imagination on fire. So anyway, the actual veins that were on this were totally a hazard, because kids they could have chopped their fingers off with them. So we replaced them with swimming pool noodles.
Very nice. Very nice.
This kind of gives you a view of, we covered the whole ground with those wood chips.
Yeah.
The sand part. In the very background there's you can see that concrete slope that goes up. It's called that's called the concrete slide. And the children, and there's some big lilacs up there that hold that space. Okay. And that's our slide. And the children, the little girls, their tights last one day. So don't wear tights. I had one mom who she put her boys in rain pants, and then she would just put duct tape on the seats of their pants, and they would come each day with fresh duct tape so they could slide down and put duct tape on them to protect them. You can see a little bit that stage I mentioned to you is sort of in the very background there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bar across the top. And behind the windmill, there's a little 2-story playhouse that we'll get a better picture of that later, that one of the grandfathers built for us.
Okay. Very nice. I mean, I could look at this picture for 20 minutes. There's a mailbox there that one of the dads built an elaborate art mailbox at one point that we had, but it was made out of rebar, but the kids still managed to destroy it. So we have a proper mailbox there now. It's your wheelbarrow I talked about there, upside down. Yep.
And the sandbox boat is there too. So that's also a main feat. It took us a long time to find that boat.
That's a nice boat. I like that boat.
Well, boat people do not want to give you a boat if they know you're going to put a hole in the bottom of it, because you got to do that so it drains.
Yeah.
And we probably lost 5 boats because people would find out what we're going to do with it. And so finally, this again was one of the grandparents who gave it to us.
Okay. Nice. All right. We're going to keep moving here because there's just so many amazing pictures, but okay, so another angle, maybe looking the other way almost.
This is down the hill a little bit more. There down at the bottom, there's that awning that's not open right now, but that was because Seattle has a lot of rain, and that allowed us to have a slightly dry area to make art.
Oh, nice.
I shared this picture with you because it has that ladder. And I think that having, there were the boys up there on that 3-step ladder there, and I don't know what he's doing. He's got that tube and a bucket, and he's dropping stuff down. There must be water in the bucket, is all I can think. Nope. But so I just wanted to show, because I think ladders we don't have climbers. And then behind this boy in the Spider-Man outfit, there's also another step stool there that's on its side. But I wanted that one in there because I think ladders are a really important part of, because in the real world, I mean, a climber, I think we teach children that, the ladders are bolted on, right? There's not really a lot of risk. In the real world, you need to make sure it's on stable ground. You want somebody, you look how careful he is on that ladder there. Yeah. That other little girl behind him, I think she was holding it for a while, but I think she's given up at that point. But anyway, I just wanted to point out the ladders.
I love it. Yeah, no, with playground equipment, it's all safe. Everything's the same amount. Nothing's going to wiggle. Nothing's, on purpose. But here it is. No, I'll bet it took him 5 minutes to get that position just right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here's another little shot of the sandbox, and then we got the wagons out there, and look at that teamwork of those kids taking that wagon up the hill.
Yeah.
Because we had no flat spaces, as I mentioned. Yeah, you see, there's another wagon there with only one set of wheels.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Everything's broken. Now, I will
Yeah.
point out the wagon that those kids are pulling is the one from my own childhood.
Oh, it
That one
looks like that. Oh, that's nice.
still has survived. The new one is broken.
Oh,
So
that's
maybe
funny.
we just don't make things as well.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I love that they're working together like that. It looks like they're about to go over like a curb, so they're really gonna
Oh
have to
yeah.
give it some oomph there.
And I love that
Yeah.
she's in her little princess costume. She's got wings or something on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at, and for some reason, there's two trees back there wrapped in plastic. I guess the kids had a sheet of plastic. They wrapped up the trees. I'm not sure exactly what that was. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I was noticing that. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. This is what happens in Seattle sometimes. As it rains so much, the water table gets high.
Uh-huh.
So every rain, we ended up with like basically a swimming pool there. And
Yeah.
so this is just there to show you about getting messy. These kids, the one boy, he's got the boots up to his knees. Every kid was wearing boots.
Yeah.
That's part of it, is having those boots. Some of them had the rain gear, but the boy climbing in there, he's got rain pants on, but you can see he's completely soggy. No,
Yeah.
we sent him home like this almost every day. So the key is I would always tell the parents, keep a towel in the back of your car if
Uh-huh.
you care about your back seat and all that, or bring a change of clothes because this might be the way your child comes home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see, actually, I want to show that the playhouse there too. To me, that's a one of a kind. This grandfather built that for us. I kept saying to him, I want something that's kind of like Lincoln Logs because I was thinking in terms of loose parts.
Okay.
Something you could build yourself, and he couldn't
Yeah.
quite come up with that. But so those panels there, you can open up all of those walls, and we'll see other pictures later. So the kids can put doors and windows anywhere they want on the bottom. And it was really a fussy project, but they would work on it for hours on end trying to create those.
That's cool. Very cool. And then here it is splattered from the jump in the puddles.
Oh yeah, the splat.
Love it.
All right. So here's
Okay.
what I'm talking about, like planks of wood. To me, loose parts is all about this. And you see how the kids see our cast iron pump is right there in the bottom of the picture there.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend a lot of money on that. I want to tell people that is, I think it's a lot. I think the last time I looked, they're about $40 on Amazon.
Okay.
And that's a 30-gallon Rubbermaid tub underneath it. And we just ran a hose to it and we filled it up when the kids used it up. And the good news is
Oh,
when you live in an environment with lots of water, conserving water isn't one of the things that we worry about in the Northwest.
that's right.
So you can see that one there, the way the planks of wood are used as bridges, as ways to get across, and lots of digging. You see get a sense of the two-level sand pit here because there's the top level, then it drops down to the bottom level.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. And then those trees just creating like a nice little border there.
That was
Yeah.
a row of beautiful cedars, and it was a pity actually because people before us had chopped the branches off that were at the kids' climbing level, so we didn't get the climbing trees I would have wanted. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that water thing. That's very cool. So then you're just pumping out of that container.
Exactly. And then
That's really
we ran
nice.
a hose along the fence and we had it in there and it was semi-permanently installed
Yeah.
so that so basically one of the adults had to run outside the fence and turn on the water 2 or 3 times a day to refill it.
Top it up. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Now there's some climbing action.
Well, that's an old climber that I found in the storage room when I first moved into the school. So we stuck that back there in the corner. But
Yeah.
you see there's the shipping pallet is there. And then
Yeah.
the main reason I sent you this picture, Rusty, is do you see that kind of like ladder thing that connects across, that irregular looking ladder piece at the top of the picture?
Yes. Yeah.
That is the ladder the kids built for themselves because
Okay.
none of the ladders were tall enough.
Yeah.
And that took like a month
Right.
because they had to scavenge every little piece of that off of the playground and create this ladder so they could get up. And the ladder overall got kids up about 10 feet up in the air so they could get up onto and it all started because one little girl thought we needed a tree house up in those cedars.
Okay.
She discovered none of our ladders were tall enough. And instead of saying, buy us a ladder, she said, this is the culture that we had. She said, I guess we need to make a ladder. And this
Yes.
5-year-old girl, little Charlotte, I tell stories about her all the time because I know she'll be all of our bosses one day. She managed this project, she figured out a million different ways to do this ladder. They finally got it done. And it became like one of the most prized possessions on the playground.
I love it. That is the coolest ladder ever.
Yeah, it seems like something adults would have created for kids, but no, they did it all themselves.
I love it. I love it.
All right, just a little mud play, a little kitchen play. Just wanted to show that it's not all large motor. Sometimes it's fine motor kind of play that kids are getting into outside. I think having lots of containers is really vital in a play space like this, and containers of all sizes and types. I can tell you right now that every single one of those containers has a story. I know how it ended up on the playground. You know, the greenwood there used to be a storage container for these little wooden mallets and golf tees. And when we introduced the proper, hammers and nails, the kids didn't want to use it anymore. So that container came out there. That little toy that thinks she's holding in her hand, that was part of the Play-Doh play inside that the kids all wanted to make shapes out of the sand and stuff and brought it out. And that little blue bowl, that was my daughter's IKEA dish that she used to eat out of when she was little.
Oh,
and that table too, the table it's on was something that I used to have at my house for my daughter. It eventually fell apart, but I love having things that are in states of decay. You can see on the floor ground if you look carefully by the base of that chair, there's a train track. There's a Brio train track there.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything's broken.
Yeah. And then everything is at your fingertips. Oh, that may be the next thing she grabs because she's like, okay, I want to stir it. Hey, there we go. There's a stir. Yeah. Or a telephone.
Having it be in a box somewhere where she has to go hunt through the box and figure out this is just like, oh yeah, well, I'll use this. I'll use that. And her imagination turns it into what she needs it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
All right. Okay. So this is one of the things. So this is the concrete slide over there.
Yes.
You see that they were using the ladder that day.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Down there. That was one of the things they used it for. But this was the point where they really got into ropes. And you'll see that not only are they using the ropes they tied a bunch of ropes at them. We strung that rope across the top because we had a safety expert one time come and look at our playground. That's all he recommended. He just said, put a rope across the top there so they can hang on to it while they're going. Well, what the kids did, we started tying their own ropes to it.
Yeah.
So they could get themselves up on the slope to get up there. And then you'll see that lilac over there where the kid is climbing in it. They've created like this nest of ropes over there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of playgrounds. I don't know if you know this, Rusty, but there's a lot of places where ropes are not allowed anymore.
Yeah, I can picture that.
They're all worried the kids are going to strangle themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Every once in a while, a kid will put a rope around their necks, but there's adult supervision, right? So you're keeping an eye on these things.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the key part. That's one of the beauty parts of a co-op is there's lots of, adults' eyes out there to keep an eye on things in case somebody does something really stupid.
That's true.
I'll tell you, we had tons. You could see how many ropes we had out there. That wasn't even all of them.
Yeah. You got ropes. You definitely have ropes. Well, I think that is another important point about the loose parts and junk playgrounds and risky play with like ropes as risky play is that and child-directed learning and that kind of freedom. But we're not saying, just turn your back and let anything go.
Yeah.
No, just the opposite. Like you got to be on. You got to be on your game.
You have to be on your game. And that's why I always use the metaphor of the adult in the kitchen window watching. Because that way you're facing the kids. You might be doing something else, but you're facing them. So often what happens when you get adults on a playground is they start talking to each other. There's nothing wrong with that, but they turn face to face. And now they're not watching what's going on anymore. Then it becomes unsafe. I always say, have your shoulder to shoulder conversations with other adults. Keep your eyes where you're going. Act like you're maybe watching TV or something, and you're talking to the person next to you. Keep your hands out of your pockets, right? Make sure, just because, if you see a kid falling, what do you want to do? You want to catch their head. Right? And if your hands are in your pockets, you slow yourself down. If you're nervous, if you're a little nervous about what's going on, you don't have to go over and start asking a bunch of questions and scolding the kids and cautioning them and say, be careful. Just get closer. Go get a little bit closer and maybe make some statements of fact, like concrete is hard and it hurts when you fall on it. Right? That's all you have to say.
Right. Just put it out there.
I'm just giving you a statement of fact about the environment.
I'm not saying anything. Yep. But just remember that. Keep that in mind. Yeah, I love it. So it's like this beautiful dance, or it's subtle. It's still very strong, the adult role, but it is this also knowing that the autonomy is important and the self-direction, but also knowing that, concrete is hard.
Right.
And yeah, and if we're gonna, we're gonna let kids do this kind of stuff, you have to be there and you have to
Well,
be.
you see kind of to the right there, next to the boy in blue, there's some big 4x4s or 6x6s or whatever
Yeah.
one of the parents put there. And there's a sharp corner there,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
this is something that we left on our playground, because if you round every corner and you pad every surface, the first time a kid runs into one outside of the safe space, they're going to hurt themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's ever prevented an injury. I think what we do is we push the injuries off into the future, right? Because the moment they find a tripping hazard, they'll go trip on it, right? It's part of life. It's part of growing up. And I know that licensors don't like to hear this. So I'm just saying, you have to talk, but sometimes like the guy that talked to us about safety here, he was the head of safety on all the playgrounds in Seattle. Now he was worked for the Parks and Rec department. That was his job. And that's all he recommended we do to this space, because he said a few bumps and bruises is part of what playgrounds are all about. So
Wow.
there are some people out there who are in roles like that who understand what they're doing. It's not all bureaucrats.
Yay. Yay. That's refreshing to hear.
It is.
Yeah. It's interesting too, the idea of having some sharp stuff or having some dangerous areas. And, I tend to think of like different areas having different moods
Yeah.
for children. And it's like, okay, that's a little, whatever, that sharp edge or something else, a pile of rocks. Like, that's a dangerous place. And that's where, Jimmy cut his finger that one time. But and so there's like a respect that you have and an awareness that you have.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important to stick with what you just said. That's where somebody cut their finger one time, right? Because that's a statement of fact you're making. And that way it gives them a chance to think for themselves about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is one of our outdoor art projects.
Okay.
The kids were really into catapults. And so this is catapult.
Oh, that's a catapult?
So the kid is jumping onto that's a small one, but it's like
Yes.
like a teeter-totter.
Yeah.
We call it catapult painting. And so you jump on that, and that little yogurt cup was full of diluted paint.
Okay.
And the sheet is there to be, because it's art. You have to make art somewhere. And so they're just splashing the water. Obviously, it's just splashing water. And you see how these other kids over there in the background, it's so many different levels. This one boy, he's like full body, everything is into it. That's all he cared about was doing this. The other kids are into like mixing the paint and creating the perfect little mixture so that they get the color they want on their piece of art. So this is the kind of, you can't do this inside.
No, you could, but yeah.
I also want to point something out here. This is kind of like a product endorsement. See those little tables and chairs there?
Yeah.
So this is a more recent edition of the playground. Those are the best outdoor furniture I've ever come across for young children.
Okay.
They're by a company called Loll, Loll, and they're expensive, but they have endured for over a decade, and most kids' playground stuff does not last that long.
Yeah. They look nice. They look very nice.
And it's made out of recycled milk jugs.
Okay.
So if you're worried about that, it was the best investment we ever made. That furniture and the kids actually, because it's like IKEA style, you build it with the Allen wrench.
Oh, yeah.
Kids actually build it all themselves.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah, it looks Scandinavian, is it?
I don't know about that. I actually saw it first at the most expensive furniture store on earth, Designed Within Reach. And I just happened to see it in a window one day, and I stopped in and I started talking to him, and the guy got me like a great discount for the preschool.
Yeah, that stuff is nice.
But it was a big budget item for us at the time. But sturdy furniture for outdoors is essential.
Yeah, no, it's worth it. There's that, it's nice to get things cheaply and tons of stuff and all that loose parts, but then it's interesting then, so you're all about that, but then at the same time about like, okay, well, we're spending money. Sometimes you want to spend money and get something that's going to be quality. It's going to,
yeah. Well, and also I don't have to worry about it ever breaking. The kids can stand on it. You can see he's jumping off one of the table.
Yeah, that's what furniture in a preschool should be doing. Yeah.
So here's a little just basic science. Right? Look at these guys. He's using that ore.
Yeah.
Lift up that. I guess that used to be like an old balance beam or something. His buddy's over there with a rope. I think they're trying to get it up the hill.
Okay.
But see how they're doing this incredible exploration and science that just happens spontaneously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is all stuff they half discovered it accidentally, I think.
Yeah. Like, oh, I could use this oar. And the feeling of the oar, if you're just lifting it when it's not on the boat, and then being like, oh, wait, so you're learning this fulcrum without the word of fulcrum, and it's certainly not on a piece of paper. You're learning that, oh, I can lift with this. And if I move it this way, oh, I can go higher, or it's easier to do if I have more of this end of the fulcrum.
Yeah, and it's easier to move than just pulling it with a rope.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of what the power of the lever, right? With a long enough lever, I can move the world. And this is the kind of thing that now when they get to the physics class, when they're in, I don't know when you learn this kind of physics, but when you start learning this kind of physics in second or third or fourth grade or whatever, it will already be inside of their bodies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It will already be in their hearts and in their minds in a way that's real and tangible, so that when the equations come out or the geometry comes out or whatever else, they will intuitively know what it means.
Yeah.
So people always ask, how do you teach math without the numbers? This is how.
Yeah.
How do you teach science, physics without the calculations? Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Full body.
And I'm not teaching it, they're learning it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All right. So this is something that a lot of people might have banned. These kids, they took the planks and they put them across those strap swings, and they made what they called inner swings. And at first they were out on the ends, but they realized that it was really hard to do there. So they got in close together. And, these swings, sometimes they'll put them across like that, and you can walk from one end to the, and then you get to the middle, and then the fulcrum tips over and you walk down the other side.
Wow.
And it's wobbly and caution. But it was to me, this is the kind of thing that what freedom allows you to do, is have these kinds of explorations that will be banned outright in so many places.
Yeah, forget about it at the typical school setting.
I mean, and you see, I mean, I took this picture pretty close.
Yeah.
There, I mean, right there, there's nobody in danger. Look, they're looking at those other kids who are copying them.
Yep.
Right. So there's another two kids who decided that they're going to do the same thing and create a similar type of activity. Later, they were standing on it together, doing their teeter swing on their feet. It was great to watch them sort of not exactly one up each other, but inspire each other.
Nice. Yeah. 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 And so it's neat to have something like this where it is tricky. And it could, if it isn't just right, it could be out of control. And that's some of the learning and the balancing and the teamwork and the figuring it out.
Well, this is why risk is so important, right? Without the risk, you're not going to take time figuring it out, because you're not going to get hurt. So who cares? You're going to just go flopping around. If the ground was like a bouncy house, you're not going to worry about falling on it. But as soon as you know that ground might hurt, I mean, wood chips, they're medium soft.
Right. That's good. Yeah. You don't really want to fall. You still don't want to fall.
No.
Yeah. Huh. But there's the chance that you might.
There's a chance that you might. And that's always part of the risk. You need real risk for your brain to develop properly.
Yeah. And then as I look between their feet there, I think I see one of those marble jewels, those little jewels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're probably
right. Every picture. And that could be like a Where's Waldo.
Oh, I love this picture. This is my favorite picture ever.
Yeah.
Look what they built. They took the wagon. This is like something from a I don't know, a Dick and Jane book or something from back in that era. Because our playground is on a slope.
Okay.
Right? It's on a slope. And so they got the wagon. They got a bench in there for them to sit on. They've squeezed 3 kids onto there. Then with an airplane, see, they put the wing across that plank.
Yeah.
And then the one boy puts the bowl on his head as a helmet, because he's kind of perceiving that maybe this could be a little bit risky.
That's right. A little safety helmet.
But my favorite part about this is we all know what's coming, right? We all know that those other 3 kids are going to push him down the hill. Right? We know this is coming. But look at these parents. These are parents. These aren't teachers or professional play workers. The dad standing there is the dad of the boy with the red bowl on his head.
Okay.
And the mom over there, her son is part of this.
Yeah.
And look, they're just kind of yucking it up.
No, that body language they're chilled. They're having fun.
But they're close.
That's
right?
true. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I know that Bill, the dad, he's standing in that position. Now, see, there's a little piece of concrete over there.
Oh, yeah. Keep him, kind of herd him towards you.
He's aware of that, so that he's going to move his body as they start going down. I know that he's going to pivot over by that. He's not going to go fast.
Yeah.
But the worst thing you could do is, as an adult, is run on a playground. Because when adults run, that panics children.
That is scary.
Because when adults run, there's nothing more embarrassing and nothing more horrifying than adults.
That's funny. Yeah. That's true. No, so you always gotta playing it cool. Yeah, so that's your job. It's to, just position yourself to play it cool.
Yeah, so Bill's gonna pivot over that way just in case. They start towards that thing. Although when the kids hit that with the wagon, it tips them over on their side. And so some kids aim for it.
Yeah, it looks like it would be a good, a little ramp there.
Two left wheels on there, it's going to tip you over.
Yeah,
so
totally.
We're all prepared for it. So there's controlled falling too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a special effects of like a car movie, like a chase scene. Like they go up over that so they can flip over.
Just over the kids' Red Bull, you can see the pallet swing that we had for a while. Talk about a hazard. See that pallet, that swing, that's a swing.
Oh gosh, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They've got ponies in it right now. All right, so this is just another use of the tires and the planks. I love that the kids are creating their own climbing devices, right?
Yeah.
And they built it to meet a just right risk, right? It's not too high, it's not too low, because they determined themselves what they felt comfortable with. They built this for themselves.
Yeah.
And you'll notice there's 2 orange flags in there because one boy decided we should warn the little kids that it might be too dangerous.
Oh, that's thoughtful. Yep. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah. And then you got branches there. Looks like the cedar tree branches and whatnot.
The cedar tree, and then that orange table was our old workbench that we just couldn't quite get rid of, so we moved it over as a side table. Or no, actually, that's what happened. We used to have a drum kit, an actual drum kit that somebody pulled out of a dumpster. It was a perfectly good drum kit, so we kept it on the playground, and then somebody stole it.
Ooh,
and I don't care. And, the thing is that on a junkyard playground, most of the time you don't notice when things get stolen, right? It's just, who cares?
Oh, that's good. That's fun.
And so, because one of those wagons I think got stolen at one point. And I'm thinking, there's probably some street person out there with a wagon full. They're using it for their belongings, right?
There you go.
They need it more than I did.
Yeah.
But that's what we did is that after it got stolen, we took that old workbench table and one of the dads glued a whole bunch of buckets and stuff on it and made his own drum kit for the kids.
Oh, there we go. I see. It's a percussion station.
A percussion station that never got used. It wasn't as cool as the actual drum kit. But see, this is the thing, is the more work you put into stuff as an adult,
totally,
the less the kids are going to play with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if all those buckets were loose, they'd be used every day for all sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Or they would be a drum kit for a day.
Right. Or they pull and make their own drum kit.
Well, I think this is a good example of large loose parts, right? There's a bench, there's a wagon, there's a galvanized steel garbage can, there's a couple of tires, there's the base from an old rocking pony that broke off with the green plate on it. Then there's a beat up old copper pitcher and some hula hoops, and they've made their little house.
Yeah.
Just have all the little stuff there. There's no need for me to build a mud pie kitchen for them.
Yeah.
They created their own little space.
Yeah.
And I love just how all those little cobbled together pieces, that galvanized steel garbage can, by the way, isn't a garbage can. And I had to keep reminding the adults not to throw stuff into it. The children called it the thunder drum.
The thunder drum. Yes. Yeah.
Because it sounded like thunder when you beat on it with a stick.
Very good. Very good.
Somehow it's part of what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
And look at all the work it took to pull all that stuff together.
Oh, yeah. Incredible. And using all these things in different ways that they were used differently the day before or the week after. But here it all is coming together. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's like before it was just things everywhere. And then suddenly it comes together as a thing. And then the Tibetan sand paintings, then it comes all apart again and it's vanished.
Now, after watching this, there's going to be some people who are going to say those tires are toxic. You've heard that one, right?
Okay.
Right? And so this is my rule of thumb.
What do you say about tires?
So first of all, tires become toxic when they start deteriorating. When they're fully like this, unless a child is teething on them, they don't have and plus they're not with them 24/7, right?
Yeah.
So I keep an eye on the tires. And when I start seeing evidence of them crumbling or something like that, then they're gone. Right. They have radial in them, that radial cable inside of them. So if that starts sticking out, that can cut a kid, that can harm a kid, that can poke a kid. So when they start deteriorating, but when they're in this condition like this, now one of the ways you could do it, if you're really uncomfortable with them, is paint them.
Okay.
That encapsulates everything. In Australia, where you were, and where they often will paint the insides of the tires white. And I always wondered about that. Why do you do that?
I remember this because it's like spiders, right?
So
poison spiders.
They can see the poisonous spiders if they're hiding.
Scorpions or whatever the stuff they got over there. That's Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Wow.
And the shipping pallets, what I've learned, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you probably know this better than I do, is that most shipping pallets you find are going to be, they're going to have on them either HT or CT. If it says HT, that means they were heat treated.
Okay.
It means that they are non-toxic.
Okay.
And you want to also kind of know where the shipping pallets came from. If they came from a place where they were storing food, maybe avoid those. Our shipping pallets all came from an architecture firm. They'd been used to store paper.
Okay.
So we knew that they were relatively safe. So that's what we always did with our shipping pallets. I think the next picture has a lot of shipping pallets in it.
Yeah, let's see.
If they're CT, they're chemically treated, and those are the toxic ones.
That is a good tip.
They're
Yes.
incredibly rare in the US. These are super safe pallets right here.
Yeah, yeah.
These came from the architecture firm across the street. And this was amazing to me that the children figured out how to build houses by running 2x4s.
Oh.
Sturdy enough that they could climb on them. And climb
Interesting. So it's like engineering happening here.
Pure engineering.
Yeah.
Right? It's STEM learning, right? Science, technology, engineering, and there's the engineering and math. They're doing all of this stuff just as, and we've already talked about science, technology. We've talked about engineering. Here it is, right here, and math is an essential part of what they're doing. But again, and you know, to me, this is like, it was a miracle they discovered this.
A miracle, or it is just the beauty of play and minds coming together and trial and error and having the freedom. Yeah. Yeah. That's the miracle.
And having the time.
Yeah.
For it to happen, because, you know, as they say, right? If you given enough time and a typewriter.
Right. Right. So how about that? Given enough time and some boards and pallets and tires.
Every kid will discover this.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Oh, this looks fun. This looks like an action shot.
This is an action shot. So these kids, what they started doing is, this is a little stairway they enter the playground from, and they were taking the tires. So at first they were rolling the tires down the hill, and kids were like, as adults, we're kind of freaking out, right? Because you could mow other kids down and everything. So we're trying to find ways to help the kids without bossing them, right? Without saying to them, don't do that, or stop doing that, or be careful. So I kind of said to them, hey, listen, I'm noticing some kids are worried they're going to get hit. What can we do? And so they decided that what they would do is they all had to come together to the top, and down at the bottom, they built a barrier. See that barrier down at the bottom it's just a pile of junk.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sure. Yep.
For them was that, the kids that are past that will be safe now, because the tires will all hit that and not go any farther. So then they would start calling out, we're going to roll the tires. We're going to roll the tires. And so that gave everybody the caution to get out of the way. And then they rolled them together and rolled the tires down together. And it was such a great project of cooperation and teamwork. And again, safety play, because sometimes you could call risky play safety play. They created this perfectly safe environment right there to engage in their self-selected activity. And you can see there's a couple of areas over there again.
Yeah.
Kids got to play with them too. Safety play right there. Yeah. Now here we go. I put this in here as a picture because this is what we call a learning pile.
Learning pile.
Yeah. And preschoolers, they will anytime you have this kind of opportunity, they will just start piling stuff. And it drives the adults crazy. They'll take everything that's movable on the playground and put it into a pile. And you could see these kids made this topsy-turvy, crazy thing where they've just put all kinds of loose parts. I mean, I know where everything in that pile came from, but to an uninitiated, you're looking at it and you're thinking, what the hell is this stuff? What I love about the learning pile is no one knows what they're learning. But they obviously are learning, because they're engaged in it and they're asking and answering their own questions. Probably what they're learning is, I can make it a little bit bigger. I can make it a little bit. And if something falls down, then you have to support it, right? So these guys spent all day building that learning pile.
That is so interesting. There's plastic animals, there's sifters, tires, big stuff, little stuff.
You notice there's some pretty, we think of plastic as being cheapo stuff, but those Tonka trucks are pretty tough. And that shopping cart is like 30 years old. It's been around on playgrounds forever. That thing is never gonna, it should never go to a landfill. It should always be on a playground. But look, somebody cleaned out a closet. That's a shoe cubby thing on the top there.
Yeah.
That white thing. Obviously came from IKEA or someplace. Learning pile is what we call them.
Love it.
All right, here's another little house with loose parts the kids put together. The main reason I sent you this one is just you can see there's the little boy with his back to us, and just to his left, there's a milk crate, and then below that is that crazy looking red and yellow and black thing. This was one of the most amazing loose parts I ever came across. In fact, I had dozens of these. I had their manufacturing patterns. So like we had a big manufacturing district in the south end of Seattle. And I met this artist one time, and he was a dumpster dive artist. And he told me he was trying to sell them at some place, and they were beautiful. They weren't all worn out like this, round and wood and solid and all this amazing kind of colorful pieces. And he had collected, because the manufacturers, when they were done with them, they just threw them in the dumpsters. And so he would go down and dig them out. So this is part of like a construction vehicle or something. Pattern for it, right? They would put it in sand and then they would pour it. You know what I mean? They would clean
right. Very cool. Very cool. And that's a nice thing about a big city that has manufacturing, that has factory, that has, stuff that's, secondary. And
dumpster diving, I'm not above it. I often would go and look in dumpsters. They lock them all now. You can't do it anymore. But in the city too, every once in a while, we would find things that people had clearly stolen from other places on our playground. And over the lower right-hand corner there, you see the little yellow part of a bicycle frame. There was there was a bicycle on our playground. And we tried to find the owner of it, but eventually we took it to the workbench and took it apart.
Okay.
So even the thieves were providing us. Here's another just great example for the kids. Those are all the panels. So that's that homemade ladder that we made. And then they took the panels out of the playhouse and built a walkway, a gangway up to the top of the concrete slide. I just thought that was just a genius way to use those parts.
Yeah, love it.
Here's another just use of, this is an early version of that playground before it got quite as junky. There's a lot of straw on the ground there, you see. This was obviously in October, and I would always go to like the stores that had displays with hay bales. And I'd say, when you're done with those, can we have them? And then we would bring them to the playground, and they would slowly get decimated on the playground.
Yes. And then just being part of that surface. We don't know is that surface. It's dirt, it's wood chips, it's straw.
There's sand underneath there too. And then those wooden, that's part of the sand pit. Oh, this is why I put this in there. So you see it to the left there, there's our metal boat.
Yeah.
But in the middle, there's that little ridge sticking up. That's the first boat we had. That's the wooden boat that eventually just, it just sank into the sand and it disappeared. And kids would come back. So eventually it just disappeared. So way down in that sand pit is a bunch of nails. They got to watch this happen. It slowly disappeared. And then I had some alumni come back like 3 years later, and it was gone. And they knew it was there. And they spent their whole day on our playground. These are second and third graders digging in the sand, trying to find that old boat.
We're going to find that.
I love the stories that we get to tell about our spaces.
Yeah. It has story. It has history, mythology.
And I think people listening to this, if you think about it, that's one of the things I want to emphasize, is that coming across these cool things for your playground, really stay in touch with your local businesses, right? Get to know those people. Talk to them about what you're up to, because they'll save things for you. A framing shop, they have tons of mat board, right? Mat board is sturdy cardboard. You can use it for all kinds of stuff, and it's beautiful colors often. And they're just going to throw that in the recycling bin. They have those frame corners, right, that are samples.
Yeah.
Well, they get the next year's edition. They have to throw all those out. Those become incredible loose parts to use. Bakeries have things. Restaurants have things. Any business will have things. Manufacturers have things. Almost every business out there has some kind of thing they're throwing out they don't think about. And they would love to give it to you.
Yeah. You're having another use to it. Yeah. Yep. Giving it a second home, but in a different way. Yeah. Kind of thinking, okay, what do they make? What do they throw away?
I mean, everybody, one of the best throwaways was an office attorney legal firm going out of business. And they just had boxes of stationery and envelopes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff, I bet it's been there for 10 years. We're working through that stuff. Anyway.
Love it.
All right. This is just another, example of creating a space out of ropes.
Oh, love it.
Here's another swing that we made, a tire swing that we worked on with the kids. Now, the kids actually helped us drill the holes in the tire there. And we put the ropes on it. And they almost never swung in it, but they would see how they're twisting it up.
Yeah.
Filling that bucket with water. And then they created their own sprayer.
Oh my gosh.
When it spun, it would spray water out.
Yeah. Oh my.
And they just, run screaming, right? You get that thing going, and then they had their own water feature. So I just wanted to show you the steepness of that concrete slide. I mean, that's what,
Yeah.
Look at this kid sitting in this red or green thing. You know what he's doing, or she's doing.
That is good.
That's why I'm so close in that picture. That's just another better picture.
Right.
They would tie their knots and get themselves, rope themselves up to the top. And here's a better picture of our cast iron pump.
There it is.
And the thing is, if you invest in a cast iron pump, make sure you learn how to maintain it yourself, because kids will throw sand down in it and stuff like that. You have to be able to, it's not hard. It's easy technology. And there's the parts you have to replace are these little leather fittings every once in a while. And I would just do it one day. The kids would say, it's not working, Teacher Tom. And I'd say, okay. And I would take it down to the workbench, and the kids we'd get out the tools, and the kids would help me take it apart. We'd look at the insides, we'd clean it out. We would put in new parts if we needed to. And often we'd look in and we'd say, well, somebody, threw rocks in here. That's what the problem is. And then the other kids would tell each other, don't put rocks in there anymore. So kids would say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning, so knowing that there's consequences to actions, and knowing that you are capable to be able to fix things too. And that is a fix.
Repairing things is one of the things that children today need to see more of. I really believe in that. If something's broken in the preschool and I think I can fix it, I don't do it at home at night. I don't do it after hours. I do it right there. That's why I keep all my tools at the school. I just go to the toolbox, I get it out, and we sit there and we figure out how to fix it. And that, because there was, those little pizza wheels, right? So we used those. There was a couple of those that were plastic, and we used them for Play-Doh cutting and stuff. And they were popular, and one of them snapped. It broke. And so what we did is we repaired it with a couple popsicle sticks on either side and duct tape, right? Just repaired it. That was way more popular than the other one. That was the most popular pizza wheel. The other one never got used anymore. They would fight over the repaired pizza wheel because they knew something it was special.
There was extra love that went into that one.
Yeah. There's a vehicle these guys made.
I love it. I love it.
Those sturdy chairs.
Holding steady.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you see that is a piece of equipment. There was one of the parents whose son she had him sign up for parkour lessons. But then they were a family that had a little wherewithal. So she actually built us a little parkour apparatus in the stage over there that you can see to the right. And that's why those pipes are there. And that was part of the apparatus that she put there. The parkour thing all got taken down very quickly. The kids climbed on it for a week. It's like any other climber, right? The kids didn't need that. They were like, who cares? And so we took it all down, and we had to leave the pipes because they were set in concrete. But these boys, I love that they built this vehicle there for themselves. 4 tires.
I love that thing. Yeah.
They even drew a license plate on it with chalk.
There it is. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Okay.
We shipped in a plane one time, and I had this kennel that, I'm never going to use again. And so I took the door off of it because it becomes one of those things where children trap each other in it, and they freak, claustrophobia is a thing. So I just took the door off of it. That's all I did. Well, these guys had the idea of taking it to the top of the concrete side, and they were writing it down.
Yeah. Yeah. What happens?
And you get to the bottom and it tips over, and it's crazy fun. Nobody got hurt because they were they were so cautious about it, right? He's got that rope along the side. That kid held onto the rope all the way down. So he was adjusting his speed all the way down.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
And they figured that out on their own.
Technique.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a full body helmet is what they kept saying.
I love that. A full body helmet.
Used, and I mean, look at all the work it took for them to pile those on top of there. Those tires are heavy. That was a lot of kids. And then they decided it was too dangerous, so they put the caution codes around it.